Hard Knock Media presents Occupy Me, a new science fiction thriller.
Oh, man, the world's gonna end, isn't it?
Yes, but I would also like to say the world ending is not the end of the world. Let me rephrase.
Occupy Me is a new science fiction audio drama involving an alien invasion, psychic body snatching, and bizarre love triangles.
Christina, for real, only if it's an emergency.
Roxanne, when is it not an emergency?
To listen and subscribe to Occupy Me, find us at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts, and head to thenerdsofcolor.org for the latest updates.
It's time for Who Watch, Time and Relative Blackness in Space.
The black girls have the box.
Hi everyone, it's Bayana, Connie, and Robin coming to you live from the Time Vortex.
We're wrapping up our Blue Ballot Box series where we discuss one episode from each season of New Who based on our nominations and your votes. Today we're discussing episode 8 of Doctor Who season 9, the Zygon Inversion. In this episode, the Doctor is puntastic, Clara is in everyone's heads, and it doesn't matter what species Osgood is. That was really hard on my list.
Sorry. Can I just say, first of all, shout out to y'all.
No.
To the Doctor Who
Not
fan,
shout
like
out.
to our TARDIS fandom.
I won!
Truly shout out to y'all for not choosing Sleep No More. I appreciate. I didn't have faith.
I low-key wish we had.
Oh, no, thank
See,
you.
watched the
and
episode.
we should have campaigned for it. I
should
wanna
have. That's what I was
just
thinking when I was
wanna,
watching the episode.
Thank y'all because Robin and I are already going through some BS on Wizard Team for the Potter folks, and the fact that y'all don't want to hear us rage is great because I like to watch things that I don't have
Violent
angry
reactions
feelings
to.
about.
I will say,
I'm
like, first off, shout out to y'all because at one point Bayana was actively campaigning for Connie's episode and I felt ganged up on and I still won. So
I was more just
boom.
like of the two, and then by the end I was like, just vote for one of them. I don't care what somebody.
But
else
I will
wins.
say that, like, at the end of this episode, Sleep No More is the next episode, so, like, they do, like, next
know.
time on, and
It's
I was
hilarious.
like, thank God. Because even the, like, next time on, I was like, this is stupid.
The first thing it said, no, literally, it said next time on, and then it said, you must not watch this. I was like, bloop, great, I won't. Just clicked right out of there. It's like, shan't. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for the warning.
Yeah, I was
No.
watching it like low-key. I wish we had picked that episode. That would have been great. Just because, I don't know, I'm not the biggest fan of this.
Because she's also not
I mean,
recording
it's-
Cursed Child right now.
That's what's gonna, yeah, there's that
Fair.
too. That's
Fair.
why. Because she's not also, like, reading the worst play I've ever read.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So.
Can I also say, so we tried really hard when we were picking, and I think season 9 has a lot of two-parters.
It's pretty much all
like
two-parters.
all two-parters. So you guys chose the, like, basically the two standalones, and then I was like, well, this is, like, one that I think is the easiest, like, second parter. Now I remembered as I was watching it what I actually chose. But I basically didn't even choose, like, one part of a two-parter. I chose, like, the last part of it, basically a three-parter. Because
Is it? Oh, right.
Day
because
of the
it's
Doctor
The Day of the Doctor.
sets up, like, the whole
sure.
thing.
Yeah.
So, like, it,
Yeah.
like, there's, like, you don't need to have seen Day of the Doctor, but they definitely, in the first part,
Listen, yeah, because I was watching it like, I was having memories of this episode in quotes, and then I was like, oh, none of that happens in this. That's all Day of the Doctor. So then I watched it afterwards like, oh, okay.
yeah. But,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and, like, you don't have to have watched Day of the Doctor for Invasion Inversion to really make sense, but it's an added, it gives it more, like, depth and context. Yeah. But yeah, I was like, oh, way to go, Robin. You really, I was like, I really chose, like, a multi-parter, like one part of a multi-parter. And I still won.
You did. Shout out to you, truly.
Shout out to me.
Truly. Okay, but so did you watched the first, you watched the Zygon Invasion, right?
Yeah.
I watched, have time to do both.
I watched both, and then, like, as Inversion was finishing, I was like, I didn't take no notes. But yeah, so I watched both parts, and I really liked the two-parter. They're, you know, at this point in, like, season 9, it's so, like, the Moffat-ness just oozes off of everything. And I'm so, like, disillusioned by it that, like, I knew that I really enjoyed it the first airing. And I know that, like, there are pieces of it that I do really enjoy. And, like, this is an iteration of Clara that I also enjoy.
The fact that she's had iterations is just wild.
Exactly. But it was also like every time now I like see Clara, I'm like, well, which Clara is it? You know, and like that's annoying. And then a lot of like some of the like twists. You know, there's like a very M. Night Shyamalan-ness to like Moffat at this point.
Shyamalamian.
Oh no,
that's not it.
Oh god,
Shyamalan-ness is, I don't know. Anyway, there is a very much a like, here comes the twist, and oh snap, the twist is not anything, and you could have skipped it, left it, whatever. It's not as you're not as clever as you think you are. That like permeates through everything, and I was trying to pick out like how much of it is the fault of this episode, and how much is it that we're in season 9 of when he took over season 5.
5.
So it's like 4 years of this now.
He's not good at new tricks.
Yeah. And so like my patience is just not there anymore, you know?
Yeah, I had a similar thing because I didn't watch part 1 this time just because like
me neither.
I was like, this week has been a lot, but
got time, man.
So I was like, I can watch I could squeeze in this little hour, and I was also doing other things because I was like, I can't not be doing other things right now. But I had a similar feeling, and I remember really, and I've said this before, like I remember really loving season 9, and now I feel like I really want to rewatch it because, and watching this episode made me want to go back because I was like, I remember loving it, but I can't remember if it's because season 8 was so like lackluster, and so like meh to me that I was like, oh shit, something's really going down. Because this time, like you were saying, and it could also be because we've been like just also in the Blue Ballot Box have been doing Moffat for the last like 4 months, and so we're just like extra, just like
that way.
Dude. I mean, yeah, I didn't mean to say it in that way, but y'all know what I mean.
Real.
Yikes. But because of that, I think as I was watching it, I was just like, dude. And again, like I think it was a good episode, and even like I just watched like the recap beforehand, and I was like, okay, it kind of like jogged my memory, so I wasn't lost watching the episode. But there were definitely some moments where I was like, bro, I'm gonna need you to just
like, you're not that clever.
You're not that clever, and it really does like ooze. And I just feel like because like the episode is decent, like it's not as appalling.
Yeah,
it's like when he does a good job, it's like, oh, it's there, but it's like, okay, whatever, I can get past it, and then
and then sleep no more.
Cliche.
The next,
I just want to kick you in your face.
The very next episode.
Right. That's the thing with cliches is that it's like either comforting because that's what you came there for, or it's really irritating because it's a cliche. Like cliche,
but you only really
has both, and it depends on what the context is. And this point, the context is that Moffat is Moffat, and we've gotten this like so many times.
Well, but I think that like I also like it's easier for me to like I can watch any Moffat episodes from RTD's run. Yeah, I can watch on pretty much any episode from season 5 and never feel like, oh, this dude is killing me right now. You know what I mean? Like and there are a few episodes sprinkled into season 6, maybe like 2 actually. A few is pushing it. There's like a couple in season 7. There's like, you know what I mean? Like it's like sprinkled in after that, but like it's interesting to think about like It's just as Moffat-y as season 5, and I can watch any of those and be like, okay, whatever. It's
well,
cool.
I think not that people really do this.
Go ahead.
No, not that people do this, because I guess there are certain entry points that get like pulled up ahead of others, like either start with 1 or lots of people are like start with 5, the season 5 or whatever. But I wonder if there are people who start with like 7 or 8 and then go back and, you know, I wonder like if you're not used to the Moffat-ness of it all from having seen 1 through 5, I wonder if the ones from 6 through 10 feel as cringy, or maybe by 10 it still feels cringy, but depending on where you start, I wonder if you can watch those seasons first and be like, oh, oh snap, that twist. I wonder
like
if
rewatch. Yeah.
And then go back to 5 and then find that to be cringy. Like, I'm just curious, like, if it's possible
the entry point
that it is, yeah, I wonder if it's possible if it is the cliche of it all and just Moffat repeating himself, or if it is like there's an extra layer of like bad quality going on, which is what I think it is. I think there's just an extra layer, because I think, you know, again, we've talked about this before on this podcast, like Girl in the Fireplace is basically what happens with Amy and River all in one. Like, it's, you know, like, but we still find those enjoyable,
yeah,
to a certain point. But, and so it's like, it's not the repetition. It's the repetition in addition to, I feel like, something else. Just
well,
like,
I think it's also because the thing is that he rehashes things and he doesn't do it as well the second time around or the third time around.
Yeah, I think it's like, it's very self-referencing, like, in a way that, like, I don't know, I was thinking about this with, like, Edward Wright's movies. Like, there are beats in Edward Wright's movies, especially, like, the trio, the cornetto trio, that, like, they're self-referencing, that add joy to the story, that add, like, I got that reference. But if you don't get the reference, there isn't, like, there's no diminishing return. Whereas, I think with the stuff, like, the later that Moffat goes on, when he references something like his old thing, he also adds beats in there because he wants you to be like, got it? You know what I mean? And so if you don't get it, you're like, okay, that's weird. The pacing's weird. Like, there's this, like, so there's this moment in the Inversion when the Doctor takes on the mantle of president of the world again, and he shows up, and the...
That's Invasion.
Oh, it's an invasion?
Yeah, because I didn't see that.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
But there's this moment in which
keep going.
He shows up, and then the woman goes, he says who he is, and the woman goes, I know who you are, which is a Harriet Jones reference. And part of this is, like, the woman's in, like, police garb and all this other stuff. And also there's, like, 5 actors in the UK, so I know who she is, and she's probably in a Harry Potter film or something. But, like, I was like, is that Harriet Jones? Did he, like, cast Harriet Jones again? And, like, as a different character that just have this moment, because she looked really familiar, and because it was like I know who you are, and then nothing, like, pause, look, you know what I mean? So that you're like, oh, this is something, right? But, like, the thing with, like, Doctor Who is that it's not quite an anthology series, kind of like American Horror Story is, but it kind of is. Like, you don't have to have seen every season. Like, you can drop a whole season and come back, and you shouldn't be that lost, because they're pretty self-contained. And so that, like, if you're just watching season 9, this is like your first time entering Doctor Who, that beat, you're like, I don't get that reference. Should I get that reference? Like, you know what I mean? And so it just feels weird. And I think that, like, that is also the downgrade in quality there, is that, like, he does all this self-referential stuff, but he wants you to know how clever he thinks he is.
Oh, and he was doing it less in season 5 because he was, like, starting fresh and trying to, like, distance himself from RTD. Right. And then it's just like, well, now he has, you know, a Moffat canon, I guess you could call it.
And season 9 is also the one where he references
actual,
like, or like RTD at all.
And all of Osgood's,
I think it's
personality is referencing older doctors. Which is, like, I think it's cute because she is basically a fangirl of the Doctor, as if Doctor Who was a show that was on, but it's not. It's just like...
Yeah.
Right.
That makes it a little cringy.
Well, no, to me it's like, oh, she's
the way
just
that they do it, to me, yeah.
To Osgood, he's a celebrity in his own right, in the way that, like, I would reference something that, like, Benedict Cumberbatch did, or I was going to say Harry Styles, but, you know.
I let it. We already knew.
Because he's, like, his latest video, he's, like...
We've been in the Slack. I've been looking in the Slack, okay?
He's crooning to a fish. Come on, Harold is the best. I love that weirdo. But, like, it would be like me wearing a glittery suit that Harry wore at a live show, and everyone's like, what? Because
what is this reference?
Not everyone is, like, into him.
Like, part of the thing is that she works for a top secret organization, and, like... Not only do general people not really know who the Doctor is, like, she knows even more stuff because she works for this top secret organization. It's like, girl, should you be?
Right. So it's,
all this
to me, it's like, it's really cute because Osgood is basically doing professional cosplay. Yes. Where, like, the people who know are like, hey, that's a reference to something, but everyone else is just like, she's quirky.
I like it in theory, but I think the way she's written is very Moffat misunderstanding fangirls.
Oh, yep, definitely.
And so that, like, bothers me.
Totally.
So,
to me, I'm like, it works in spite of him. Or just,
Fair.
Not because of what he's not doing anything to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
Okay, so let's
like,
do a Zygon Invasion recap, just because we kind of did it, but because since Robin actually saw it, like, I think that might help to give a little bit of context.
Yeah.
Especially if she references stuff.
So...
Which is fine, because they're so, like, intertwined, but I definitely didn't watch it.
Well, also, I think, the previously ons, the recaps in the beginning do a good job.
Yeah, it did a decent job.
Setting it. You don't really have to go back and watch it. But so I think you have to actually start with Day of the Doctor. So in Day of the Doctor, we find out that they are Zygons, Zygons are like a reptilian creature. They were in classic Who.
Suckers.
Huh?
With suckers.
With suckers, yes.
Suckers,
okay. But they were...
Venom sacs from the tongue.
That's the word.
They look like large anamorphic tongues.
Yeah.
Like, they really do. Like, if your tongue just stood up one day and walked out of your mouth, like, that's what a Zygon looks like.
And the suckers are your taste buds. Oh, no, stop. Keep going.
Oh, no, stop. Keep going.
Beyond this.
So, anyway, I'm going to push through. So, in Day of the Doctor, the Doctor finds out Zygons are coming. They want to take over the planet. They've done this a few times in other, like, planets. They're shapeshifters. They can look like a person, but they basically can make a copy of the person. So, they have to, like, have seen the person, and they also can create a link to the person so they can understand, or they can, like, better pretend to be that person. They get, like, some of their memories and stuff, but not long-term memories. So the Doctors, both of them, 10 and 11, come together and create a failsafe where they give the Zygons, like, 20 or 30 years, I guess, to take on human personas and, like, integrate into the world, and they scatter them about the world, and then, like, in 30 years or something like that, they can either choose to continue to assimilate and, like, share the planet, or they can, they'll have to hash out they'll go back to the drawing board. And in doing so, there is a woman that works for UNIT. Her name's Osgood. Not Oswin, not Oswald.
Those are
which
both
are both Clara.
Not confusing.
Not confusing at all. She also has glasses and brown hair, but she's not Clara. Mm-hmm. And when they come up with this solution, there is a human Osgood and a Zygon Osgood, and they have linked together and decided that they are going to be the peacekeepers of this treaty. They're going to be the only ones that really remember, because the Doctor wipes the memories of everyone else that was kind of involved, including Claire Lethbridge Stewart, or Kate Lethbridge Stewart, who had viewed it. So that happens, And then Zygon Invasion starts, and there's a small subsect of Zygons who've decided that they don't like this solution, they don't like this treaty, they're going to invade and take over. And that also all of these Zygons who are okay and happy with the compromise that was made are traitors. So they're going to force them all out so that they can live happily or whatever. Or
so
take
you
over.
Explaining all of this is the first time I've actually understood a lot of the plot of these episodes in like a linear form anyway.
Yeah. I'm glad I could be of service. It does get very confusing, as, you know, Moffat is wont to do. So the plot starts with them taking over, and before we start Zygon Inversion, we find out that the person who we think is Clara is actually a Zygon, and Clara is in a pod that also looks like a tongue, so that the Clara impersonator can have access to her memories and help like fool the Doctor into thinking she is actually Clara. Mm-hmm. She tries to kill the Doctor and Osgood they're on his presidential plane, and she shoots a grenade launcher and shoots the plane out of the sky, basically, and boom, Zygon Inversion begins.
One Osgood dies during the Zygon Invasion.
Right. Oh yeah. So we open when we started. When Zygon Invasion starts, an Osgood has already died previously, and then the second Osgood, the twin, has quote unquote lost it, and is a little untethered, but she also gets kidnapped.
Yikes.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
big yikes!
I don't even know that reference because I don't watch that movie. But
I know, but woo! Yeah. Sorry, I just got the I just got like the image in my head, and
whoa! Oh my gosh!
Oh no! Sorry,
it works
like too well.
Yeah, it's a little too well. Okay, sorry. It just wow.
No, that was good.
Okay.
So yeah,
cool.
So there's
Us for white people.
So as we start the second part. Clara has been sent with another member of unit. No, that's in the first part. Well, yeah, so in the first part, Osgood is kidnapped. Clara is sent with one member of unit to kind of track down the Zygon stronghold. Kate Lethbridge Stewart is sent to America to Truth or Consequences to figure out something like. One of the Zygons keeps mentioning Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. So she's sent there to figure out like why that place is important. It's not.
I remember that. Okay. Yeah.
He just likes the fact that there's a town named Truth or Consequences. And so therefore she goes there. And the Doctor puts back on the mantle of President of the World so he can have a plane to go rescue Osgood. Yeah. Is that a good recap?
Yeah, that's great. I'm like, shoot.
So to recap, if I'm just learning things for the first time.
I'm like, this, yeah. Okay, cool. So yeah, so then we open again with like, because they do like, it's like a cliffhanger where she's like pointing at the thing and she's like, Clara's dead, and then is about to
No, she shoots it down, doesn't she?
She does, but that's at the very beginning of the Zygon Inversion. It's
okay.
They're like, bum, 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 whatever. And then, like... So, like, I understand the connection between Clara and Bonnie, or I guess the Doctor calls her Zygella, which is out of pocket. But, like, I understand that there's a connection between it, but like, also the way that they show it is weird.
Yeah.
Like, with Clara in this little... Like, Clara in the room, I actually kind of liked that part, but then when she's, like, using the TV, and the fact that she can... But, yeah, like, I understand that part and Bonnie being able to tap into some of Clara's, like, personality and memories and whatever, but then, like, Clara being able to all like having that connection is weird to me. Like her being able to send text messages, her being able to like when she just like points,
knowing too.
She has like the trigger finger or whatever. Like it seems weird because it was like, when did she figure out what was happening? And they don't show that. They just show her imprisoned, and then all of a sudden she's like moving the television to like block, to like make it harder for her to shoot the bazooka or whatever. And so that part was weird to me because it wasn't clear like why Clara would know any of that. Yeah.
Didn't they have the confrontation already where... Oh, no, that's, like, afterwards.
It's after.
I think what happens is that Clara's kind of seeing through Bonnie's eyes by what the television is, like, what Bonnie's seeing.
Yeah, so but I'm like, how does she know that?
She's hearing certain things, and I think that she tries to turn off the TV, or she tries to do something, and she recognizes that she can make, like, tiny, distinct changes. Because when she's looking through the TV, and Bonnie's about to shoot down the plane, she starts hitting the TV in frustration. And so the first time that she does that, Bonnie misses the plane. Oh. And I think that's how she figures out, I can kind of make small, like, changes. Like, I can't stop her from doing things, but if I, like, shake this TV hard enough, it messes with her balance.
Yeah, and then she starts
experimenting. But I don't think she knows for a fact, like, that she's able to do anything. She just, like, hits the TV in frustration, notices that Bonnie had a clear shot at the plane but somehow missed. And it looked like she got hit, you know what I mean? Like, so then she starts to experiment.
Well, I think that, like, maybe part of it is that, like, they don't show Clara getting, like, switched.
They do
initially, right?
In a flashback.
Do they?
Yeah. So when she is the doctor's calling her, and she's going to her flat, which is a different flat. All of a sudden, Clara lives in the Council Estates.
Listen, the
rent is too damn high,
and the old apartment had too many bad memories, so she had to move.
I guess.
She didn't even live with that dude, so I don't know why her apartment would have bad memories.
He spent time at her place or something.
Did he, though?
I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah. Just saying stuff. But she's, so, yeah, she's coming back. She's getting something from her new apartment, old apartment, whatever. And the little boy is, like, his parents are missing. His parents are Zygons, but he can tell because he's a boy. And children have better...
the sight or whatever.
Yeah. And so when she goes into his apartment to look for his parents, they take her.
Got it. Okay.
And they do a flashback to show that. But you don't see it happen immediately. You think it's still Clara until...
You think it's... Yeah, because that's supposed to be the twist.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
At the end of the first episode.
Yeah. I will say I like Bonnie just because it gives Jenna a bit more to do. I remember, like, when I watched it the first time, I was like, okay, like, she gets to, like... do more. Yeah, she gets to actually act. Like, I feel like they don't really give her... It's, like, one of those things that I appreciate about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is they give the actors, like, lots of different things to do and, like...
to play with.
So it gives them... to play... Yeah, lots of things to play with. They end up being different characters. They end up, like... getting put in these, like, really crazy situations, and then it gives the actors, like, a chance to push themselves. And I don't think that, like, Doctor Who can do that, but definitely didn't for Clara. Most of the time, as much as she changed,
right?
As much as she changed and stuff, exactly. She didn't really, like, acting wise, wasn't really pushed. And I think part of that is because there was no real, like, through character arc, and when you get a fully realized arc, you're able to fully embody, like, those emotions and characters, and she didn't really get that. But Bonnie, because she had, like, a different outlook on life and different, whatever, I think she was, like, Jenna was able to, like, do more with it, and I really liked it. So, yeah. It's like you could see, like, a different kind of... Yeah, she's just embodying a different person, so...
Yeah, I think that one of the things I did like about Bonnie, Clara as Bonnie as well, is that she's playing kind of like sinister. And so there's like, also because it's a two-parter, right? There's this switch where Bonnie is pretending to be Clara, and she has like some of these like, you know, the camera will look at her when she's doing like reaction shots and stuff, when she has this coldness to her. But then when she becomes, when she gives up the whole I'm pretending to be Clara thing and she can just be Bonnie, there's this like sinisterness that I think Jenna Coleman like does really well. This like quiet anger and this like simmering like, you know, because she's playing basically a terrorist and a zealot, like a, you know, fundamentalist. Yeah. And so I think I really enjoyed that part of who Bonnie was. She's not, like, I think one of the things that Moffat villains have a lot is, like, they think that they're so clever and they talk a lot. Like, in a way in which they all kind of run together to me, like Madame Kevorkian, Missy, they all they're like the same person with a different actor and different clothing, right? And Bonnie has, like, you know, a monologue, and, like, a few moments in which she's, like, professing, you know, her evil plan, but mostly she's, like, stomping around, getting things done, and, like, doing it, you know, which I think is, like, different. And I also remembered watching this being like, oh, I remember why I chose this one, because there are a lot of for your consideration TM moments.
Oh, my gosh, girl. I was like, it's so,
I always love when they give the doctor this, like, sweeping monologue that is basically like, look at me acting, you know? Look at the fire and the fury. Is. I always love those because they never actually work. But I love them. I love the attempt of them.
No. And it's funny because I had that same thought, but then I was like, but they're also giving it to Jenna too. Like, she's also getting her moment. Right. So I was like, that's nice that, like, they both are getting
more subtle, at least.
Kate gets a moment for your... Like, they all get this, like...
They all get their moment,
They're monologue-y, like, this is who I...
It's all acting.
Yes. And
it's the capital A.
Yes, and I love it. I don't know why, but I do.
Yeah. No, but I definitely agree, because like the whole time I was watching, I was like, ooh, they're just
acting.
They are really going for it right now, and not in a bad, like, they're doing well, but you can just feel it, like, you know that's what they're doing.
Pauline was putting on that accent.
Whew, it was a lot. That accent I didn't understand, but
I did not understand. I know,
it's just like
the game show.
Yeah, the game show, like, American, but he kept slipping back into Scottish, and
I was like, I don't know about that choice, but the rest of it.
And then he came back to it, and I was just like, why are we here? He kept coming back to it, and I was just like, no, I thought you'd leave that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Beginning of the monologue, man. But yes, he was the acting. Capital A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I felt like I was in Scandal. But yeah, and I mean, okay, so one of the other things too is like, and like your recap, Robin, helped a little bit, but I do think that, like, Bonnie's plan is a little flimsy.
Yes. And
they're pointing it out, but I don't know, it just felt weird to me. Because it was like, okay, I get she's angry and I get, like, all these things, but she never really explains why. And she just, like, says things like, oh, we're being treated like cattle, but it's like, okay, are you, though? And, like, in what way? And where? And didn't you invade Earth? And, like, you know what I mean? Like, I had all these questions. And so that part was kind of, like, even though she is, like, getting things done. Yeah, and I wasn't, I think it's one of those where, like, even though she was getting things done and she was, like, you know, a boss bitch, but, like, I was like, for what? Like, it was just kind of, like, wasted energy, it felt like, to me. Like, she just needed some more direction or something. I don't know.
Through better. I think one of the things I do think about that is that it comes up again in the, like, big climactic, you know, it's like, the doctor is like, and then what? Like, what actually is your plan? And I always took that as being, like, done on purpose, which a lot of Moffat things are definitely. There's no purpose to them.
Yeah.
But I agree with that. I do see that a lot.
Yeah. Although, like, on the flip side, I also felt like the Doctor was, like, really mansplaining super hard, and it made me, like, want to root for Bonnie more. Like, even, like, though the monologue was great for, like, Capaldi, half the stuff he was saying, I was like, this is bullshit. Like, yeah, this is some, like, propagandist, like, shit, and he's just trying to, like, mansplain to her that she should forgive people for mistreating her. And it was weird, because I was like, but I haven't seen anyone mistreat you, so I don't really know what you're talking about. But, at the same time, if that's the case, whatever the fuck he's saying is some BS. So I was just kind of like, I don't know who to root for now.
Both of y'all, just blow it all up.
One of the things that I thought was that it wasn't so much mistreatment as, and this is where it made me feel uncomfortable because who Moffat is. It felt like she was upset that they weren't allowed to be who they were. So they had to, like, sure, okay, like, this is the treaty or whatever, but, like, we have to walk around in human disguises. We're not allowed to be us.
Be ourselves, yeah.
And so, like, this is the compromise, but the compromise means that we have to assimilate to you, and you don't have to, like, humans don't have to learn about us at all, or learn how to live with us at all. And I think that could be valid if it wasn't done by Moffat. Like, it's the difference between, like, someone like us, you know, like black women saying, we have to assimilate to your culture, but you don't have to give us anything, as opposed to someone like Moffat saying, I have to give in to you, but you don't have to give in to me, which is bullshit.
Right, and I think the thing is like, I think that's what it was, is I was, like, feeling that I couldn't fully pinpoint it while I was watching it because he makes it so flimsy. Yeah. On purpose. When it's actually, because I think that if he had really gone in and, like, shown them feeling, like, more than, I mean, it didn't have to just, like, there could have been people who were fine assimilating, because I think that that's true in general, but, like, honestly, this episode could have benefited a lot from having a writer of color, because it just felt like he was very much, like, trying to make this point, but, like, he thinks it's BS, and you can tell that he thinks that, like, oh yeah, you should just assimilate. Like, you can tell that that's what he thinks, and so because of that,
I actually think that his point is, why do I have to assimilate to you? And you don't have to give that. Like, why do I have to write complex women characters, but you just can't handle who I am as a person?
I think it's that, but I think it's also the flip side of, like, you should have to accommodate me. I shouldn't have to accommodate you. And in seeing that, he's writing this character who, honestly, like, does have a legit point. Even, it's legit when you ignore the fact that they, like, went through time to invade Earth. Like, if they'd been, like, refugees or something, or, like, just decided, like, this looks nice, maybe we'll just come chill. Right, like, I think that would have hit a little harder. Right, like, I think that might have hit a little harder in terms of, like, just the origin of where this is, but, like, we're here now, fine. I think it's because you can just tell that, like, as Bonnie's talking, that he thinks it's bullshit, and, like, so it's just him trying to get, like, Capaldi gets this big sweeping monologue, but a lot of the time I spent, like, while I'm, like, half of me is, like, marveling at, like, you know, his acting, and then the other half is, like, you're just, like, really going in, like, just mansplaining this whole thing, and it was just it was kind of, like, frustrating to me. But it was just, like, it was really clear that a white dude wrote it.
Yes.
Because he was like, you have to forgive, and, like, an eye for an eye makes, and I'm like, okay, but, like, you're doing the bullshit, so, like, I'm just supposed to forgive you? We just supposed to end it there? Yep. Break the cycle. Oh, because you were on top, so now we can break the cycle now because you're good? Like, that's just how it felt to me as I was watching it. Yep. And so, yeah, it was rough, I think. Just in terms of, like, the messaging. It reminded me a lot of the Kerblam episode, actually.
Yes.
Right.
In that, like, they almost got there, but completely missed the mark at the same time. Like, you think they're good, you're like, oh snap, are they about to? And you're like, oh nope, not even a little bit.
Y'all took the wrong lesson from this. I don't know. What do you think, Connie? I think that there's both in that.
Yeah, for sure. You both make great points, and as an Enneagram 9 INFJ, I'm just like, of course, I see both sides. I'm in the middle, as usual.
I mean, but we're, yeah.
Yeah, both points are valid.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of going, so there's this, like, I don't know, this, like, current controversy that because I have insomnia, was looking at yesterday with this, like, white girl in box braids is yelling at black women because they...
Is she still going?
I don't know.
She's yelling because of what?
I just saw this yesterday. So this white girl in box braids is yelling at black women who are like, you shouldn't wear box braids. And she's like, so because y'all get discriminated against, or because because people tell you how not to wear your hair, you're going to tell me how to not wear my hair. And it's a circular thing. This, like, which is, like, that's not the point. But then there are a bunch of black women being like, yeah, because we get shit, we're going to then give other people shit. That's not fair. That's not right. Let her wear her hair the way she wants to wear her hair. And we should be allowed to wear our hair the way we want to be allowed to wear our hair. And you're like, huh? Like, how did you get there?
Her hair going to fall out anyway.
Right. Someone else said that too. Like, let her wear her hair this way until her edges fall out. And I was like, but the point is that she's able to put this on and we're supposed to accept it. Meanwhile, black women are getting fired from jobs, not getting jobs, getting suspended from school because
they just literally had to put a law in place in California.
Yeah,
that you can't discriminate against people for their hair. Like that just passed. Yeah.
Right.
But also Gabrielle Union
just got fired.
Just got fired. Gabrielle Union, like not some like random lady across the way.
Right. And so that's like, that was the other side of this Twitter argument. But it was one of those things where it was like, so y'all just gonna discount history to make this like
it's the context
kumbaya argument about why this white woman should be this white girl should be able to do what she wants.
Right. And that definitely applies to the episode, like that context thing of like, okay, Bonnie's making all these points about like, okay, you should be able to be who you are, yada yada. But y'all invaded the earth and they had to do this whole thing so that y'all would stop killing each other. So how about we remember the context of what all this is
how we got here.
Right. So there's that.
Yeah. So I think the other thing about like the humans versus the Zygons is that Bonnie is actually fighting like two fronts as well. So like she has her belief of like we're being persecuted and whatever, but there is in a part of like the 50th, the compromise that was hashed out in the 50th anniversary episode is that like there are these Zygon council members, like there are they have like if they have grievances, they have people that they can go to, to like represent, like it's not a public thing, but like they have oh my God, I hate myself. But basically like a tribal council. But I can't think of another way to explain this. There has to be a better way.
Why is council not appropriate?
Well, because I'm just trying to so there's like a council, a Zygon council that they can go to who have authority to kind of police the Zygons and then take that stuff back to the powers that be and like hash the stuff out without compromising the treaty that is. You know what I mean? But to Bonnie, like even the existence of those people, like they're traitors. So like this Zygon, the Zygons that are in charge and that are helping to like maintain this like treaty are traitors by the simple fact that they're maintaining this treaty. And the Zygons who are happy with this treaty and who are living, like, in the beginning of the episode, the inversion episode, she's chasing down this Zygon who's living as a man who's completely happy, who doesn't want a revolution, and forcing him, like, to come out.
That's what it is, yep.
And quite literally forcing him to come out and then, like, taking video and posting it on the internet, like, completely just kind of violating, what he wants. Like he's happy.
And then he like kills himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So there is this like double-edged sword of and so there's like Bonnie who's like, well, we're fighting for our freedoms, and we're fighting not only against like the human race that's subjugating us, but then like the co-conspirating Zygons who are co-signing the subjugation. And then on the other hand, there's Kate as the human who's like, the treaty's broken down, let's nuke these mofos. And the doctor's like, not all of them, actually the vast majority of them are fine. Like this treaty is not broken down. There's like this one group of people who are making a lot of ruckus, but are not even the majority of the Zygons, right? And she's like, well, one of them gone bad, all of them gotta go. Like, and so
just out of pocket.
It's this weird. I liked it, but it's this like commentary on the loud minority forcing you to like lump everyone together, and like the lack of nuance that happens in these like times of strife. Like how do you obviously, like, this is a crisis moment. I forget what they were calling it. Were they calling it like a crisis point or something like that? And that's true, but like you don't have to blow up the entire thing that you built to solve this, like, to deal with this like small splinter group.
Yeah.
Right. There was definitely a couple moments at the end when they were having the full, like when the doctors try to get everything together, where he's like appealing to Bonnie, and then Kate will say something, and it's like kind of like she's like, and me too, and it's like, shut up, Kate. Like,
right.
Like, get your hand away from that damn box and let him talk to Bonnie. Like,
right. And I think we see this too, because there's this moment. Well, we open it and like Bonnie's told the doctor that Clara's dead, Kate's dead, and that they've won. Like the invasion's happened. You know, you get now.
Meanwhile, the rest of the Zygons are like, I didn't ask for
right,
this.
right. And so when we first see Kate, we assume that she's a Zygon. And when she reveals to the doctor that she actually is Kate, he's like, "How did you get away?" And she's like, "I shot them motherfuckers." You know what I mean? Like, 5 to the head.
Don't like it, but 5 rounds rapid.
5 round rapid.
You know, out here.
I got out, and then
he's like, "I know you don't do that, but I do.
And
I keep that thing on me."
And then the doctor kind of scolds her about it, but it's like, but she was actually going to die. Like there was her versus one Zygon. You know what I mean? Like that was the only way she was getting out of it. Like one of them had to die.
And she already got by one Zygon. She's like, that's not happening again.
Right.
She's like, you ain't gonna get me again.
Right. So that was also like this weird thing, because it's like Bonnie started this, and like, yeah, she's killing people, and that's wrong. But like at the same time, like the humans are also not mass murdering Zygons, but they are trying to defend themselves, you know? And like the Zygons are doing a good job. There's that weird standoff scene where all these Zygons come out and Truth and Consequences, New Mexico, and they look like, oh no, they're in the UK. When the doctor's going to try to save Osgood, there's like this hostage situation where the Zygons are putting on the forms of like the soldiers' family members and loved ones and mothers and daughters and whatever, in order to like mess with the humans so they don't kill them. And that is played as two sides of the same coin, but it's not. It's like, but that's like.
And I think that's my problem, is like Moffat often tries to make these points, but and they're very complicated, and he just like flattens them in ways that is like, this is just disingenuous.
Yeah.
On both sides. You know what I mean? Like, so it becomes confusing, because it's like, I don't understand the point you're trying to make until the big monologue, because you're giving me mixed signals on like what you're trying to say.
Yeah. Because I think there is this, like, the doctor has this belief of killing is bad, killing is wrong.
Yeah.
But the doctor also has a belief of killing as a last resort. Like, you cannot say that he has not killed people. Like, that's the entire emphasis of
just
season
tortures himself
6,
every
right?
single time he does it.
He just what?
Yeah, tortures himself every single time he gets there.
Right. He doesn't like to do it. It's not his first move.
Right.
But that's not to say that he doesn't recognize when it's the only move, you know?
Right.
And there are a lot of moments in Doctor Who where it's us against them. Like, that's it. Like, one gotta go. You know what I mean? If you don't like that, then don't make those stories that way, right? Like,
yeah,
you're writing this thing, like, but there are a lot of either they die or we die. So it's very frustrating then when he tries to say, like, both are wrong, you know? And it's not always on the humans. Like, I'm thinking, I don't know why, but, like, because I think the Silurians would have been a better thing than the Zygons for this, trying to tell this kind of story. But he does that in Hidden Earth, Hungry Earth, whatever.
No. Yes.
Hungry
Earth.
I think so.
And then Cold Blood, that's what it was. That's I was like, something's cold.
Another two-parter.
I was like, I don't remember which, but something's cold.
But yeah, but he does that in which, like, the humans are wrong, right? Like, the humans are the aggressors. The humans started, they didn't know that they were hurting the Silurians, but as soon as they did, their first reaction was, they gotta go.
Yeah.
But, like, those storylines, like, there is an aggressor. You know what I mean? We're not both meeting on equal ground. And at least with the Silurians, like, the Silurians did not invade Earth. They were here. The humans did not invade Earth. They came, you know what I mean? Like, they both are, like...
Sprung up now.
Right. They're both, like, naturalized
native
creatures, to the Earth. Whereas here, that's not the case. Yeah. And the Zygons got a peace treaty. And this faction...
When they could have got yeeted off the damn planet.
Right!
Like, I just... like... I don't...
Like, we just had this, like, dichotomy of...
5 months ago.
You know? Be happy with this compromise, or... You gotta go. So yeah, that was like the one, not the one, but that was a big thing about this that shows up in this second part of that, like, annoyed me to death. It's like, there is nuance, but this isn't it.
Yeah. Definitely.
You did your nuance wrong.
Right. Like, there's clearly an aggressor here. And also, like, Kata's not a bad person because she killed someone who was going to kill her.
Right. Yeah. One of the other things that, like, kind of was permeated in this episode, but also that I kind of remember was, like, the full season, was just, like, the relationship between the Doctor and Clara. And how, like... I think I forgot how intense it was. Mm-hmm. Even though that's the whole point, is that it was super intense, and that's why it ended the way it ended, but, like... And I also, like it. It's not intense in the way that, like, Rose and the Doctor were, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I wasn't, like, there's a moment where, like, I think Osgood... I put it in the quotes, but I'll just say it now, whatever. Where, like, Osgood asked if he's good, and he's like, I don't know, I'm still in my hope phase. Or he's like, I think she, like, maybe, you know, she might be cool. And then there's these moments where, like, he, you know, he's, like, very much like, nah, like, he, like, that's my best friend, and, like, I'm not about to, like, whatever it is, like, that's my girl or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I like that as, like, a arc, I guess.
Yeah.
From, like, season 8, and how, like, that was slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and how grumpy he was.
Yeah.
He's still grumpy, but he's, like, you know, his true Slytherin form included her in his circle, and then it's like, oh, now that you in here.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think too, like, so one of the things that I had a hard time with this season, and with Clara, is like the Dr. Clara, like how she gets so far up her own butt.
Yeah.
Because to me it felt kind of out of the blue. I mean, there was gradualness to it in the season, but it was like all of a sudden you think that you like invincible, and I don't understand where like Danny just died, so I don't understand where you got that from, that you can't also die. And I think that like this episode, there's a moment in which, like towards the end, Osgood's like giving the doctor props, and he's like, no, that's all Clara. You know, Clara is the reason why the peace held, right. And
Clara got in your head.
Yeah, and like basically gives all of the credit to her, and I don't see how, but I also see that.
Me
like,
neither. I mean, well, so it was weird too, because there was a lot of telling about Clara, and it's always what it is. It's always a lot of telling about her and not her actually doing the thing. And so I too had that moment, and then I had to remember, like, she did look at 11 and be like, I didn't realize it would be you pushing the button or whatever the fuck. And so she did kind of like get his mind working in like how to not do it. Mm-hmm. Like at first I was like, really? And then I was like, okay, I guess like sort of.
Right.
And it was definitely like a moment.
But I also
and I think because we don't fully like see her, we don't even really see her get into Bonnie's head still.
Yeah.
And I liked their interaction where like, especially in the beginning, where Clara is just like calling her bluff and is like, I don't care, I don't give a fuck, I ain't never scared or whatever. And then Bonnie's like, well, look at this. Like, you know what I mean? So like, I liked that. I liked that conversation. Right. Like I liked that conversation, but it would have been. And I think we see Bonnie kind of get in Clara's head a little bit, or at least, like, you know, kind of get her right. But I think it would have been nice to see Clara get into Bonnie's head more, as opposed to just be
the telling part, because I can see where they got it from. We just didn't see it. Like, the idea that, like, a Zygon can take your memories, I think that's what they're referencing, but that's still like such a small level. Like, it's only the first level of what you would need to tell us in order for us to see the reversal of that, because it's just like, oh, you just are like this because you chose the wrong vessel, I guess. Like, if you'd picked anybody else, they wouldn't have this connection with the doctor, they wouldn't have this like, you know, knowledge about time travel, and then I guess like Clara's inherent goodness or whatever that all companions have. And so I think that it's that stuff, but I agree that it's not like on the page in this episode the way that it needed to be to really like sell it.
But I think what is on the page in this episode that like I didn't catch before is like, okay, so the doctor's the one that's telling Clara she is all that in a bag of chips, and that she is the savior of the world.
Impossible girl.
And and like
saved me so many times.
Yeah, and that like she's the reason that all this stuff worked out, and I'm just here.
I'm just here. I just showed up.
I just showed up. You know, I'm just here so I don't get fined. And I can see how that would infiltrate Clara's like subconscious, and then she starts to believe that, because that was my biggest problem with like Clara's demise, was like I saw what she thought, but I never understood how she got there. Like I was like, how did you ever think that you were invincible? Like that, you know what I mean? Like, you're seeing people die all the time, and like, yeah, I guess you keep surviving, but like, you are human. How did you forget that you were human?
Now I just really want to, like, hire me, Doctor Who. I just want to, like, write this novelization of Clara, like, somehow just, like, suddenly thinking that she can just...
I need you to do it. I need the Precious, because
I'm gonna just, like,
so
you know what?
Much. I mean, there's so much about Clara.
I just really want to write this now.
Yeah, there's so much about Clara's, like, arc and 18 different personalities that bothers me, but like that one was just, to me,
it's so like and the thing is like they're
it's such an
like the
interesting premise
seeds
that
are
they
there,
do.
like there's all the puzzle pieces are there from the beginning. They just do not connect.
No.
Like it's like he got the little like jigsaw puzzle and just like put shit and like
You're
know
like,
when
that's
you like
the corner
force
piece. He's like, nah, it fits here. You're like, no,
it fits right in the middle. That's exactly what it is, and it's so it like irks me because like I think so. Now that I've said this, I understand now my like. You know, because I think we talked about this at one point about how, like, I hate Danny, but I don't hate Clara.
Yeah.
And I know that they're both writing issues, but I think it's because they're different kinds of writing issues. In that, like, with Clara, all, like I was just saying, like, all the pieces are there. It's just, like, not in the right order, and it's not, like, smooth in the way that it should be. Whereas, like, Danny is just here. And, like,
he's missing so many pieces.
I'm just like, I just don't care.
Just
Whereas, like,
for him, for sure.
Right. I'm like, whatever, dude. But, yeah. Wow.
You're learning some things, discovering some things about your
about
your fandom. Yeah. So Osgood. I really like her. I really liked the fact that he invited her on the TARDIS. Because I do think that she is she's a really good like character, and she was a fan favorite from the 50th anniversary, which is how they ended up bringing her back. But she has she also suffers from Moffat-isms.
Yeah.
Where
so badly.
Yeah, but like each time she shows up, she becomes less and less human.
Yeah.
Oh well, it's because she's a Zygon, obviously. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But yes.
But it is true. But that happens like every time. Like I think Moffat is really good. Like we were talking about it earlier in terms of seasons, but I think it also is true when it comes to characters and storylines. Is where he's really good the first time. And then he brings it back, and it just slowly dilutes and turns into something else. And you're like, I don't know what the hell is going on with this person.
But then it also, he does it in a way that, like, also diminishes, like, diminishing returns for sure, but also diminishes the first time. Because you're like, well, what was the first time about?
Right.
Now when you go back to, like, the first time you see River, you're like, well, none of that made any goddamn sense. It didn't go anywhere. It's a waste of time.
How did she even get here?
Right.
Like,
no, literally.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Yep.
So I definitely see that, and like, I mean, I got like in some ways I like the thing about like, oh, like it doesn't matter which of us is which, and like if I'm more of a concept, then as long as as long as there's two of us, then we're good. But it also just.
But also, I'm thinking like, if current Osgood is the Zygon one. And then there's a copy of the Zygon Osgood. And there's just two Zygons here.
It's just two Zygons.
Right.
Which is, like, fine. It's, like, goes back to the point, like, it doesn't matter. And they both have they all have the memories. But, like, I'm really, like, that must be Zygon Osgood.
I also think, though, the problem with that is that human Osgood then just totally gives up who she is. It's this weird thing,
right.
Whereas they're not, like, they try to make it seem like they're sisters and they're twins, but it, to me, seems
they've only
more
known
like
each other for, like, 3 years.
Right, so to me, it seems more like an abusive relationship where you give up who you are and who you were and what your like, dreams and, like, plans for yourself were because you're now in this relationship with this Zygon. And, like, not to say that she ever, like, dreamed of traveling with the Doctor, but she was a Doctor fan. Like, she tracked him. She tracked his career. That's how we met her. We met her, and she's, like, wearing the big-ass scarf and, like, the question marks. And, like, she has her favorite iterations of who he is. And you can't tell me that human Osgood, when given the opportunity to travel with him, wouldn't think about it. She's, like, immediately like, nope. I'm needed here.
If you're an alien from outer space already.
Right. Unless you're already a Zygon. But, like, even then, it's like, he has a time machine. He can bring you right back. Like, You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, you can still protect your planet and do your duty.
She's studied him, so she knows that he ain't gonna get her back when she needs to be back.
True.
That's true.
That's also true.
It's like, I know you say you can, and technically you should be able to.
But you're not very good pilot.
I can't risk it. I can't risk it.
But yeah, so it just, to me, like, I do like her, and I like her as a character, and I understand why she was kind of like a fan favorite and why you would want to bring her back. But there is this, like, now all that she is the Zygon representative or whatever. And, like, there's so many other things, obviously, in the Doctor Who universe that are going to threaten the planet. Like, this is your one cause. That's it. So, like, when the Cybermen come, don't call Osgood, because she is, like, handling the Osgood box or whatever. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you do.
And it's two of them, and when she wasn't, like, I was wondering about her job. Like, is the rest of it just admin? Like, what else does she do other than
Because she was, like, Kate's assistant or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Before. So it's like, can she get a promotion?
Her entire portfolio is the Zygons.
It's redacted is what it is.
But, like, also, like, you know, if you're a diplomat, they give you a bunch of different things, right? Because it's not always going to be, you're not, like, maybe if it's, like, a Cold War situation and there's spies and stuff, like, there's a lot to do.
Okay, the Americans.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. But, like, you know what I mean? Like,
I knew it.
imagine being a diplomat and you're like, I'm the ambassador to the Bahamas, and that's my entire focus. That's it. You never know what a Bahamanian U.S. incident is going to pop off. So constant vigilance.
Oh, no.
Like, what, girl?
Yeah.
Also, regarding Osgood, I hate the asthma button at the end of the episode. I hate it. It's such a bad last moment.
Wait,
it's
there's
not
an
how
asthma button?
Asthma moment. That is the.
They
button.
both look at each other and they take in their
episode.
albuterol, and then they're just like, "Let's go."
Just like it closes the episode, so it's the button. And so I hate it. It's just like cringy and like also like that's not how that works. Just like
yeah.
Are you sure that's not how that works?
It really bothers me. As someone who recently got an albuterol pump, yes.
No, it's definitely not how it works.
I don't know, man.
As someone who definitely has not gone to refill my albuterol prescription, it's not how it works.
And it's just so like over the top. I'm just like, no. Yeah. They could have picked any other like
quirk,
twinny moment. Yeah.
They could have straightened their scarf or whatever.
Did pushed up their glasses or something like. Yeah. There were options, man. There were options. Yeah. But they're two Zygons, so.
Okay, so
black things. There are none.
There are none.
There's the one. No, she dies in the part one.
There was a black person. Oh,
in part one.
Dang.
Coldamort.
Who I thought was
to face the Raven.
I completely forgot about and thought was the Zygon. I thought she was Bonnie for a minute. Because I knew that there was a Bonnie. You know, when you're just kind of remembering, you don't fully remember the episode. Yeah. I thought she was the bad guy. Then I was like, oh yeah, Clara's the bad guy. And she did. So in the inversion, there are.
This is the bad place.
0 black people.
We could have been watching Face the Raven and seen Shuri, but it's fine. It's whatever. Cool.
Anyways, quotes from the TARDIS. I'm gonna skip the first one because we already said it. I had a big plane for purposes of pouncing about.
Come on, you don't invade planets without having a plan. That's why they're called planets, to remind you to plan it. Oh, God.
That's fine. I was like, oh, wait. I loved that the first time I watched that episode and then forgot it. Like, I didn't think about it for years. Whatever it was, I watched it last and wrote the review. But that was great. It's a fave.
According to this episode, apparently TARDIS stands for totally and radically driving in space. It's not untrue.
No. I also love that he's like,
spinning about.
He's like, I made the acronym and then I changed things around to the acronym. Because I'm like, okay, wait, so does time and relative dimension in space not actually, is that not actually it? Is it really just TARDIS?
I think it probably is, and he's probably just like joking around.
Yeah.
Like, let's make up new ones.
The other, because I think it's referencing the fact that it wasn't always. I think one of the words is different in a different version of it.
Maybe it's
like not dimensions or something.
Yeah.
But I don't remember
what it was.
What it used to be.
Yeah.
It started as an acronym or a backronym.
Not a backronym. Okay, and the last one, I'll be the judge of time, which is like, I like it because it's also punny, but it was sweet in the moment because he was like, Clara's like, did you miss me? And he was like, yeah, it was the longest month of my life. And she was like, it was only like 5 minutes. And he's like, to you. So.
Yeah, I liked that. And like, you know, Capaldi put his weight in that one.
Yeah.
He did.
I just feel like, and I'm glad that, you know, we did this overall. I'm glad that we did the Blue Ballot Box series. But I just also feel like, I don't know if we were doing the recap. I don't know if there's anything that captured my excitement when Capaldi was cast. I don't know. I can't think of anything I could point you back to be like, go look at this thing of how excited I was when they cast him. But I can't go back. So there's like the two prongs of it. It's like the Moffatness gets unbearable during his seasons, but there's also this like waste of who Peter Capaldi is and what he could do, and you see these like moments of it. But I like even that.
It's ripped away from you.
Yeah, but even that, like, I'll be the judge of time and like his look and like his melancholy and how he delivers it. And there are a few times when they pop pope him with the monologues that you're like, he could do something. But they don't do like the quiet moments or the you know. They just waste Peter Capaldi in a way that is like infuriating and unforgivable to me. Like unforgivable. To the point where like whenever I see him, I just want to go back and rewatch the thick of it. I never see Capaldi and go, oh, I want to rewatch his seasons. I go, oh, I want to watch something that Capaldi's in.
That he's like being used.
Yeah.
For.
That like shows like who the fuck he is.
Put some respect on his
name. Mm-hmm. Like you had all that talent. And this is what you gave him? It's rude.
Yeah.
It's a hate crime is what it is.
Oh, wow.
Not a hate crime. Damn. Cool. So thanks for listening. Check out blackgirlscreate.org for TARDIS things, Black Girls Create things, lots of things.
Oh, wait, guys.
Us.
Doctor Who comes back January 1st.
Well, girl, can we just like go first?
Fine.
Okay, so check us out at blackgirlscreate.org. Follow us on Twitter at WeBlackandNerds. Use the hashtag TARBIS for all conversations for Doctor Who. And join our Slack where we have a channel dedicated to conversations about Doctor Who. Rate and review us on iTunes and Spotify, if that's a thing, and where podcasts are found.
TARBIS is a part of Hard Knock Media. We've joined the Nerds of Color podcast network, including the podcast Hard Knock Life, Southern Fried Asian, DC TV Classics, Ask By Girls, Desi Geek Girls, We're Not All Ninjas, and That Moment. You can check out all of these podcasts at hardknockmedia.com. Knock, N-O-C.
And you know, the BGC content calendar is crying. It's weeping, it's sobbing, it's crying, it's shaking in a corner because Doctor Who is back.
Honestly, our content calendar has never been stronger. We're the ones that are in the corner.
Yeah.
The calendar is like...
The calendar is like, feed me. And we're like,
Peace.
We're like, calm down.
That is true.
I'm cooking as hard as I can, as fast as I can.
Man.
True, it is us who are shaking in our boots. Doctor Who's back in a month, like less than a month. That's wild. That's crazy. Like it's back, like not like back for the special, and then they're gonna take a month off or like 2 months. It's not like they couldn't come back in March. You know, like we have things. It's fine. So Doctor Who's back January 1st, 2-part premiere. I still need to watch the trailer, but you know,
Same.
We're shaking in corners, so.
Who has the time?
So we'll be back with season 3 of Tarbis to cover season 12 of Doctor Who. When I say we, I mean me and Robin.
Yeah.
Because again, we're shaking in corners. And
yeah.
Mariana,
So I'm not gonna be on Tarbis anymore. Because there's entirely too much going on, and it just is not really. It doesn't make sense at this point anymore for me to also do that and Wizard Team and whatever else is happening
and write things
and all the other things that are going on,
and keeping her thumb on the content calendar.
Right, the content calendar is only afloat because of Bayana. So I mean, like, I'm annoyed about it, but like, it makes sense. It's fine.
Yeah, I'll, send me lots of Ryan gifts. I mean, I'm gonna obviously still be watching Doctor Who. Like that's.
This is also.
I mean, she might show up,
and I might pop up if I'm needed. But yeah, I just won't be a main host anymore. But this was fun. Honestly, though, I do kind of feel like I really do this was great. I will say though, and I think I told y'all already, low key when the announcement for Doctor Who dropped, I was definitely okay, yeah, I definitely need to not be doing this anymore, because my first emotion was dread. It wasn't yay, more Doctor Who. It was oh, fuck. This is what are we gonna do? I went straight into calendar mode, and so I definitely probably need to take a step back so that I'm not every episode. If Doctor Who would have came back in March, we would have been fine. So yeah, we don't need to do that.
This is also another thing to blame J.K. Rowling for, because honestly, we are all grasping for our love of fandom again.
Yeah.
We used to have it. Where'd it go?
When we started, wow, it was great.
Yeah. We started to do all of these things because we loved the thing and we wanted to talk about it. And now we're
tired.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Anyway, in order to, soothe us, and the content, the content counter is not on fire, but we are on fire. Send us cheering charms. Help us out. We putting out a lot of content and a lot of stuff. We did this Blue Ballot box series to hold you over during hiatus.
We honestly did also try to time it out, because when we thought it would be coming back.
It was really an approximation, and then it really did extra work out because the timelines remain on our side, because it was we'll do through season 11. Well, that was dumb. But then, we planned out to do it through season 11, but then season 9 just happened to happen right before the show comes out.
That was pretty good, because, since we've already talked 10 and 11 before.
Right, exactly. And so it's
work.
just it really worked out well, because if you can Blue Ballot box yourself and vote on an episode you want to listen to,
and then go
back and do that.
Yep. Exactly.
Maybe we'll do a review of those episodes later.
Maybe we'll do the Blue Ballot box voting. Y'all can vote, and then we just be all right, here's the link.
Go listen. Right, just post the link.
Team Connie won. Here's the link.
Exactly. So, send us cheering charms and, blackgirlscreate.org/donate to, help you girls out, because we got a lot going on.
We do all this stuff, and we have entirely too much happening in the first quarter of 2020, and
some of us still are, job hunting and and have jobs. I mean, both things, right? Yeah. They're not easy. Either one of those is not easy. That's what I'm saying. I'm I have still got to find a job. I'm oh, but y'all have jobs. Ouch.
Exactly. So it's a lot happening, and this is a right at the moment is a passion project. So, you know, anything helps.
Help you girls out. Help you girls out. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you literally in like 4 weeks.
Yeah. Whew.
The black girls have the box.